Hey guys, this is Sniper Wolf 1001 here with another unboxing video. Now as you guys can plainly see here, I picked up in the mail recently a Metal Gear Rex. Now if it wasn't obvious enough by my YouTube username, I'm actually a pretty big Metal Gear Solid fan. And for those of you who are aware of a lot of the Metal Gear merchandise that's out there on the market, I'm sure that some of you can tell just by the sheer size of this box which version of Rex this is. This is actually the ThreeA Metal Gear Rex. I'm sure some of you have seen it if you've watched any of Kojima's interviews or any videos of him in his office. He usually has this Rex on a table or something, and this Rex is really freaking huge, as you can tell just by the size of this box. So in this video, I'm just going to quickly unbox it and do a quick review of it. So I'm just going to fast forward here through the unboxing because it did take me a while. Alright, so with the actual box that Metal Gear Rex is in, this is the original box here. Just push that forward so you guys can see. So as you can see here on the box, we have a little image of Metal Gear Rex down there, and then on this side we have the very detailed side of the box. We have this cool looking artwork of Metal Gear Rex here. Of course, we have Metal Gear 25th anniversary down here. And this artwork looks really good. I think this is actually the artwork that comes with the other version of this Rex. There's actually a version called, I believe, the Bamboland version, which comes with a miniature figure of Snake that can fit inside of Rex's cockpit. And it also comes with a poster. And I believe this is the image of the poster with Snake on that side. He's a little cut off because of the size of the box. But anyway, on this side, there's just some... not sure what this is, but yeah, just some pictures, I guess. And then on the top of the box here, we have... So this box looks pretty cool. So let's open this thing up real quick. So out of the top of the box, right away we get an instructional manual for Metal Gear Rex. And this is showing a lot of the removable parts on Rex. With this Rex, you can actually remove a lot of the armor plates and stuff to kind of simulate post-MGS1, MGS4 Rex. And I guess this is just a promotional piece from 3A shop themselves. They have a bunch of images of figures and stuff here. As you can see here, they have some pictures of Metal Gears with boxes on their heads. Alright, so right out of the top of that box, we have Rex's Railgun. And as you can see, this Railgun is very heavily detailed. It looks really damn good. And I'm not sure if you guys can see too well, but on the interior of the Railgun here, you can see a bunch of these yellow spots here. They're supposed to be the little bulbs, because the Railgun can actually light up. And yeah, this Railgun looks really freaking massive. Like, it looks very good color-wise, as well as small details like scratches. But just look at the sheer length of this Railgun. As you can see, it's pretty much the length of my arm. So yeah, this thing is really freaking huge. And then this figure also comes with a few little extra parts here. I believe those are supposed to be the smoke launchers and a piece for the Radome. And then this is another piece here. This is the posing tool that they'd want you to use. You would put that in between Rex's legs and move certain parts of them. And then of course there's another instructional manual here. Alright, so here we have it, completely out of the box. We have the 3A Metal Gear Rex. And this thing is just absolutely enormous. And let me just bring this thing closer. And there is a lot of detail on this figure. It looks really, really, really good. Like, the gritty nature of the paints, as well as the worn down look and the small details of this thing are just perfect. Like, this thing actually looks like it's been through a couple battles. Like, as you can see here, when I bring the camera closer, you can see that there are a lot of scratched in parts here, like those little brown spots and whatnot. And that effect just looks really well done. It's one of the many things I like about this figure visually. Anyway, now onto the cockpit. We first have to take some tape off. Alright, so with that off, you can just pull down the bottom of Rex's jaw there to expose the cockpit on the inside. And I'll just adjust Rex up a bit so you can get a better look at it. Alright. So I can't really get the camera that close to Rex because of the way that it's positioned, but pretty much looking into the cockpit itself, it's actually very heavily detailed. As you can see, there's like a control panel in here with a bunch of handles, and of course we have the seat in the back there, and then up here there are a bunch of lights, which is all really nice. And of course, looking down to the feet here, we have these little nails or claws that Rex would use for extra stability if it needs to grab into the ground to stop it from moving. And then these nails, they can actually go in and out like that. It feels as if they're spring-loaded, so, and you can just move them up and down like this. And then right down here at Rex's toe, you can actually pull this part open to reveal the interior mechanism of Rex's feet. And of course you can place the nails a bit higher if you want, just all the way up. So that's some decent movability with the nails. And then right down here, we have Rex's laser cannon down here. And the laser cannon has a bit of movability, as you can see. It has a bunch of clicking points here when you try to adjust it up and down. And then, of course, you can swivel it from side to side. So that's not bad. And then if we look here, you can see the little skeletal structure of Rex's neck right here. Very heavily detailed, just like the rest of this figure, of course. And then, one thing that's cool about this figure is that this would essentially be pre-MGS1 Rex, where Rex was, you know, fairly new. But the cool thing about this figure is that there are a lot of pieces that you could remove, like this. Like, these would be the docking bays for the many missiles that Rex has. These would be the docking bays for them. But there are also a bunch of other parts on Rex that you can just remove a bunch of armored plates off of, and then you can kind of simulate post-MGS1, MGS4 Rex, where Rex was all damaged from Snake. And onto Rex's Radome. As you can see, the Radome has a bit of movability here. As you can see, you can twist it up and down. And then as I move the camera a bit closer, you can see that there's some mechanical workings here on the attachment point of the Radome to Rex's back. As you can see, when I twist this, there's a little piston here, and it kind of goes in and out whenever you move the Radome. So that's a really neat detail. And then the cover of the Radome can come off. There's 2 points at the back that you just press in, and then the cover pops off. And then, As you can see here, you can see the interior of the Radome itself. Pretty much looking exactly like it did after you fired all those Stinger missiles at it from Metal Gear Solid 1. And the damage is very heavily detailed with all of the warped colors. And then right on the back of Rex here, we have Rex's missile pods. And yeah, just like on the knee, we have a bunch. You can remove a lot of these plates to expose the docking bays of the missile pods. And of course, there would be the holes there. And there are about 4 of these on each side of Rex's back. So it's cool that they included that. Alright, so now onto the back of Rex. We have these little hanging plates here. They're just hanging freely, you can just move them around, whatnot. And then, of course, we have Rex's side skirts, and they have a wide range of movement. And now moving Rex over, you can see we have Rex's arm here, where the railgun would be. So of course you could have the railgun off to kind of simulate MGS4 Rex. So now to the pieces that were inside the bag. This was this piece here is like a wing piece for the Radome itself. Okay, let's spin this figure around. There's actually a nub right up here at the top of the Radome. Right here, if you guys can see, there's like a small little attachment point right there. And then yeah, you would just fit that little wing piece right into the top of the Radome. Just fit it in there. And there we go. That wing piece fits in a bit stiffly there onto that mounting point. I actually have heard of people breaking the mounting point because of how tight the connection is. So it's something to be careful of for sure. But of course there's some movability on that piece as well. You can move the piece up and down. You can kind of move it around slightly. Now onto the railgun. There's actually this little side piece here on the railgun that you can remove. And when you do remove this piece, it actually exposes the battery compartment right here, as you can see. And it looks like it takes about 3 AAA batteries. And of course you would use those batteries to power up the lights on the railgun itself. And then of course right on the top here we have this little switch here for turning on and off the railgun. And then on the opposite side of the railgun we also have a little button here. As you can see here we have the little button. And of course, obviously when the switch is turned on, you just press that button and the railgun will actually do a lighting effect as if it's firing something out. Alright, so now we have the railgun mounted onto Rex, so now it's complete. Just spin this thing around. And if you look onto the eyes of Rex here, these are some additional lighting parts here. We have some LEDs inside of the lights, as well as at the top of the cockpit mouth. And of course there's a removable piece here on the side of Rex's head. So you can kind of just remove this armor plate here to expose some more damage. You can expose the little vented parts there. So there are plenty of removable armor plates on Rex, which is a really neat detail on this figure. And looking onto the figure, there's actually a lot of tiny details. As you can see here, we have like these little writing here that says things like R51, no step, no step. Like, you know, safety procedural stuff, like very developmental type of things written on here. And then on the top of Rex's head here, like, there's some on that armor plate I just removed. And then on the very top of Rex's head, we have Metal Gear Rex's name right on the top of it with some small bits of writing there. And then apparently those little vented parts, they can actually come off too. So I suppose if you wanted to, you know, expose more damage, you could just pull these parts out from there on the side of the head. And then these little plates here, I'm not exactly sure if these are vents or if they're just like some type of plates, but yeah, they have these little clips that go in. And they mount in pretty easily, just clip in. And then now to the sides of Rex. Onto the side skirts here. Again, there are more removable parts here. You can actually remove this cover off of the side skirt there, expose the interior of it if you wanted to. And then right here onto the leg of Rex, you can actually remove this large armored piece here. And then looking closely to the top of Rex's leg, if I move this thing closer, with that armor piece gone, you can actually see a bit of the inner workings, the little mechanisms inside of Rex's leg, which is a very, very nice detail. Like, it's very cool how they went out of their way to, you know, put a lot of heavy detail on not only the exterior of Rex with the colors and whatnot, but also the interior, the things that you probably haven't seen in the video games, like showing how Rex actually moves and stuff like that, so that's really cool. Now onto Rex's feet. As you can see here, we have the little heel or the shank. And this part you can move backwards. It has a bunch of different points of movement. As you can see, you can clip them in multiple positions. And the little point that it's mounted to, you can slide it back a bit, kind of adjust its position. And you can pretty much use that shank to elevate Rex a bit more. And of course we have this little plate part down here. It's also a movable piece that Rex will be standing on. And yeah, you can just use the shank to stand Rex up a bit taller and give Rex a bit more variety in his stances. Now with these little small parts that came into the bag, these are supposed to be the smoke launchers that hang off of the side of Rex's legs. So if I just spin this thing around, as you can see here on the side of Rex's leg here, there are these little indented parts here. And yeah, the smoke launchers just mount into those little spots there. And of course there's 6 of them for both legs. Then you just have them hang on to the side of Rex's legs. And they don't really mount in all that tightly. Like, they can kind of fall out if you tap them, but they won't fall out on their own. Alright, so onto some more removable parts of Rex. As you can see here, I removed 2 plates of armor on the top of Rex's foot and on the inner side of it. And you can see there are these little metallic pistons on the inside here on both sides, kind of showing how Rex moves, which is really neat. And of course you can remove the other plate of armor here on the side, so you can just completely expose its leg here. You can show like the interior little white plates of Rex as well as, you know, those metallic pistons. And then of course you can raise up the toe of Rex here, so you can just have the entire leg completely exposed. You can just have that interior there, like the white armor, and they're completely exposed to show like the inner workings of Rex, or just to simulate the MGS4 damaged Rex. So those are some really neat detail. Like, they really went crazy with the detail on this figure. Alright, so now for some articulation. With the leg here, you can see that you can move the leg in and out. There's actually 2 points of movement here, as you can see. there's like a far out position here, and then there's one more position that goes closer to the body. So you can see here the leg points out quite far. And then onto the actual foot of Rex. As you can see here, the foot has its own points of movement here. I believe it just has one point of movement. So you can move that a bit independently of the knee. And as we do that to the other side, we could kind of have Rex in a battle-ready position. Of course, this looks a bit awkward because the knees aren't adjusted outwards as well, but I can't really do that because the base here that Rex is standing on is a bit too small. So, but essentially, yeah, you could just have Rex in a battle-ready position with its legs stretched out. And then now onto the main body of Rex for articulation. You can actually move the central base of Rex here. As you can see, you can click it all the way up. I believe that's supposed to be its highest point of movement. And then there would be the middle point. And then I think there's one more point of movement here, but the head is a bit in the way. But essentially, you can move the body part, the main body, so you can adjust Rex's posture a bit more. And then onto the back of Rex, you can see it has one movement point there. You can just click it in all the way like that, so that the you kind of have Rex in the inactive type of position. And then, of course, you click it back. So I believe the back just has one point of movement. And then now onto the head. Sometimes you gotta adjust the central point of the body first before you can move the head, because the sides of the head does make contact with the legs. But for movability on the head, as you can see here, you can tilt the head all the way down, just like that, so Rex is kind of inactive. Or you can tilt it up. It has 3 points of movement, one in the middle. I believe this would be the highest point. And then, of course, yeah, this would be the middle point. And then that would be the lowest point. And then, not only does the head have movability, but the neck also has several points of movement as well. I believe right now the head is in its highest point. So if you pull the neck down a bit, as you can see, you can drop the neck down, and then you can adjust it up that way. So I believe the neck has about 2 points of movement, the head has 3 points of movement, and the central body has about 3 points of movement. Alright, so I went ahead and put some batteries into Rex's head. The battery compartment is actually on the underside of the rear of Rex's head, and I put some batteries in the railgun as well, so we're just showing off the lighting effect here. As you can see, we have that bright blue neon type of color, and the lights light up the cockpit quite well too, so a lot of the things are a bit more visible. Like as you can see here, there's the control panel with the seat, and then panning around here, there's actually a light on the little screen of the control panel there, which is a very nice detail, something that you wouldn't really notice. Now closing Rex's cockpit, onto the railgun. Switching the railgun on. I'm just showing off the lighting effect here. And yeah, it's a very neat lighting effect. I'll just move the camera so you can get a better look of it. You can just see that when I press the button, the lights kind of gradually fill in, and then it just fires out a shot just like that. So it's a very neat lighting effect there. And I'll just show you guys here in complete darkness. So right here, as you can see, Rex looks very, very haunting in the dark with those neon lights on. And then the railgun again. Very bright. And actually, they actually put a warning on the railgun on the base light of the railgun that you're not supposed to stare directly at it, because it might not look like it in this in the picture of this video, but this light is very, very bright. Like, it is very blinding if you stare at it. But yeah, this figure just looks really amazing here in the dark. Like, as you can see from this angle here, this thing just looks very monstrous, very menacing. And then again, the cockpit open. Everything all lit up. So yeah, this figure looks absolutely amazing. Alright, so now for my final thoughts about Rex. Pretty much, this figure was just perfect for me. For me being a big Metal Gear Solid fan, getting this specific Rex, the 3A model, it's pretty much the equivalent of getting a Ferrari. That's what this Rex is to me. But in terms of analytical aspects of it, everything visually, like when it came to the paints, like the camouflage, the kind of green, grayish camouflage that Rex had, and the worn down nature of it, like the little scratched in, battle-torn look of it, I really loved that unpure look on Rex. Like, the paints looked very, very solid. There weren't any bleed-off spots or anything, like everything was just down, very symmetrical, just perfect. When it comes to posability, I wasn't really expecting that much movability on Rex, because I figured this would be more of a statue, but with the posability that was presented with this figure, I'd actually say it was fairly decent, because you could move the legs out quite far. Like, I believe the top leg, like the top part of the leg, it had like 2 points of movement that you could lock into, and the bottom leg could move independently of the knee, so that was all nice. And then you could of course move the central body of Rex too, which was pretty cool, and of course the head and the back missile pod with the railgun and the radome attached to it. So in terms of movability, I actually liked it. It actually had a lot more than I was expecting. And in terms of flaws, to me personally, I haven't really noticed any. However, there are some things that other people who've owned this figure have brought up. Like, for example, something that I actually have noticed was that the railgun, when there are no batteries inside the railgun, it holds its position very nicely. Like, you can kind of pose it and it'll stay in its position, whatever. But once you put those 3 AAA batteries into the railgun, it becomes a bit too heavy. Like, it'll actually drop down a bit. So it's not really that big of a deal, but it is something of concern. And I guess another area of concern is that if you're trying to simulate Metal Gear Solid 4 Rex, where you take off all of the armor plates, and I guess if you wanted to remove the railgun too to simulate that effect, I have heard instances of people actually breaking the mounting point of the railgun when they tried to take it off. Now, I actually tried to take the railgun off, and I decided to give up, because the mounting point on it is just really freaking tight, and it just looks like if you struggle with it anymore, it would just break something off. So I personally am not going to fool around with it, and I guess you could kind of say that that's an area of flaw there. But apart from that, I really love this figure. Like, this is easily my most favorite figure that I've collected, and this is a figure that's only for hardcore Metal Gear Solid fans, because this 3A Rex, it is not cheap. This is a very expensive figure, so if you're not that big on Metal Gear Solid, do not even think about buying this thing. This thing is only for the hardcore fans if you have the money. So I hope you guys enjoyed this unboxing and this review. I hope you found it informative, and I'll see you guys later.